trusted me with hosting, so let's see how this goes. I am Zach McAdoo, but for today we're Go Bulls for the Lady Bulls that are playing soon. He over there, as if I could point the right way. I've still not learned this after as many times as I've done this. He is Henry John. Henry, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right, Zach. It's March Madness, and we're gonna have some NASCAR madness, I dare say, this weekend too, because hello, Atlanta Motor Speedway is a little bit different than when we were here the last time last summer. What was it? Quaker State 400, I think, that moved from Kentucky to Atlanta. So, you and I were a little bummed about it at first, but now that we're here, NASCAR's going to have its own March Madness. So bring it on. I'm excited to break this down with you and see if we can't try to maybe figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you do a play on words with NASCAR Madness and March Madness? Right now, we are currently some of us are watching March Madness for both the men and women, but I mean, how could you not? Like, I had to watch practice this morning I missed the trucks, I didn't get up in time, and I was also working on the DFS article, which should be up soon. Go ahead and give it a read. Shameless plug. But now we have trucks on right now, so this should be interesting. I'm sure that you have a lot of cup drivers who are going to watch right now and learn the track. Are they not?
I mean, that's the only thing they can do. That's the only thing we, as bettors, DFS players, handicappers, that's the only thing we can do here as well, right? The truck and Xfinity Series race, and granted, it's going to be different when we're looking at the body style of the new next gen Cup cars, but in terms of trying to decipher just how this track is going to race, tuning into the lower level series today, I think, is something that everyone needs to be doing. You and I definitely need to be doing it. And if you're serious about putting some money on these races tonight and tomorrow especially, you've got to get in there and watch today for sure. Practice times though, and we can talk about practice here in just a second as I'll pull up the notes and just kind of run through what we saw. Of course, qualifying got rained out, but practice is one car, right? So it's not technically the same as when you're all out there running together. And if this is actually going to be a hybrid super speedway, it can't actually be super speedway racing, right? It's the same package though, so who knows? But so watching these races today, going back to your point, huge.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking because there was a guy who messaged me that I raced with on NASCAR 21, and he's like, "Oh yeah, what do you think of practice?" Like, it's going to be all about the runs. You have to learn how to use the runs, get to the front, and it's going to make our jobs as, what would you call us? Not really handicappers, but like
analysts.
Yeah, we'll call us analysts. We'll put the quotes on there too. But like, our jobs
definitely
as analysts
on this show.
Sorry, I was watching. We are going to overtime in North Carolina Baylor, so I had to see if my bracket was going to be busted there. So
you're going to get mad at me for doing the play on March Madness and NASCAR Madness, and now you're trying to inject more March Madness into the show. Come on, Zach. Get a grip.
If you see my emotions fade in either way, that is why. And in 20 minutes, we are going to have Buffalo Bulls women's basketball. That again, you're going to see the emotion come out. Well, maybe not at the beginning, but towards the end. But we need NASCAR strictly for attempt to get to the rest of this. So they're at Atlanta. You talked about it before. The 1.54 mile not D-shaped oval. Oh my God, quad oval. As it's shaped just like Charlotte and Texas. You did say it was repaved. They started after the last Cup race of the Quaker State 400 last July 11th. That was won by Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch actually got a piece of the track when they dug it up. They reconfigured it, made the banking a little bit higher. They widened the front stretch, narrowed the back stretch. So this should be interesting going forward, with this being considered a now mini super speedway with the super speedway package.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have the banking off the top of your head, or I can pull that up here quick? I'm just
28 degrees. It went from 24
to 28 degrees. Okay, so for reference here, Daytona is low
31.
30s, 32, I believe, 31, 32, something like that. So this is banked. And Atlanta was not banked before. Atlanta was also a tire eating surface before. Now it's repaved. So, what are we going to see? I think that is the big question. And oh, by the way, talking about super speedways, they are literally going to be running the same package that they use at Daytona and Talladega here at Atlanta. Now, Zach, I don't know where you come down on this, and I'll be curious to just hear your thoughts, because I think when we go through and we look at the notes and everything and try to figure out what to expect, everyone's going to have like their own views. For me, Daytona is 2.5 miles, right? 2.5 mile oval. Talladega is 2.66. I cannot wrap my head around this race at a 1.5 mile track being the exact same style of super speedway racing that we're used to at Daytona and Talladega. I just can't do it. I don't know what is going to be different, because I've never seen it before, but something is going to be different. Now, whether or not that brings previous stats, driver history, trends, anything into consideration, I'm not even sure, because, it is a completely different track and surface now. But I don't know. Where do you come down on that? Are you expecting literally a mini Daytona here, or is something going to be different? And if something's different, do you have any idea what you're thinking, might be different? Like, is the pack more spaced out? What are you thinking?
I'm worried it's going to be another 550 package like we had at Kansas last year, like we had for the last couple of years of the Gen 6 car. So I'm hoping it's not that, and it is, and we do get a mini Daytona. But on the broadcast, they were talking about the radius is not as the corner radius is our radius is whole radii. Maybe is that the plural? We're supposed to be.
Good job.
I think it is radii.
Grammar major.
Grammar. Excuse me, as a communication major, I think. What were you? Communication major too?
Maybe.
So exactly. Hey, I got my journalism certificate. Where was yours at? Hey, bud, you want to talk?
I don't see it. So go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, our alma mater playing in about 20 minutes. Go watch my ABC. But shameless plug. But I'm gonna do this all day as long as we're on here. But yeah, where was I? Oh, radii. They were talking about how it's shorter. It's more of a tight corner than it is at Daytona Talladega, because like Daytona Talladega, you're gonna be a little more lighter on the wheel. Now you are gonna have to like jab it and hope it sticks. Well, can the cars handle it? That's gonna be a major question. They were not lifting there. They were not lifting in practice today at FS1. I don't know if you caught any of it, but it was full throttle through the whole entire track.
Yeah, I only watched a little bit, but to your point about practice, we can take a look at some of these lap times here, some of the top times, and it's quite clear that they're running full throttle. The restrictor plate package, obviously, that restricts how, I guess it's tapered engine spacer. Don't come at me. That restricts how fast, though, you're going, though, right? And these practice times, the top times, are comparable with what we see on race day at Daytona, at Talladega. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., your fastest car in practice, 186.616 mile per hour lap time. Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, Harrison Burton all also topped 186 miles an hour. Joey Logano was the fifth fastest. He also ran the most practice laps, 185.897 for Logano. So we are looking at some pretty fast lap times there. Now, granted, I'm kind of expecting some slower in race times, I think, slightly. And that is just because if we're racing in a pack, and like you talked about, the tight configuration of the turns, it's not going to be the Daytona Talladega type. So, is there lifting when you're in a group of cars, a full group of cars going around? Potentially, I could see that. But yeah, these times are very interesting from practice, and I think that bodes well for what you and I are hoping is a mini super speedway race. The worst case scenario here is if we wind up with just a 550 package crap like going forward. So we don't want that.
Okay, apparently I was gonna try to bring up the DraftKings stuff, but I can't on my laptop because it does not want to let me in swear I have my password right, but DraftKings has been horrible for me for the last couple of weeks. But anyways, well,
I got
I was gonna do
DraftKings up. We're good to go.
the lineup things. I think it's time to get into the lineup. Don't you say?
Lineup? Are you ready? I mean, when it comes to DFS and betting, we're trying to fire away here this week and see what we can do. We're going to be learning right along with everyone else as far as the
You've got to be
Atlanta
joking,
Motor
man.
Speedway. And Zach, this is one thing that really stuck out to me doing betting stuff here and just breaking down some of the odds and whatnot, doing articles and such. The odds makers have no idea too, right? Now, maybe some of it's March Madness and we just got to throw NASCAR up on the board because we got to offer it. So, here you go. But everyone is priced close together. No favorites are, jumping out as a true bona fide favorite. I mean, even when we'll get to the betting odds in a bit, but even your favorites are hovering, teetering on double-digit prices to win this race outright. And the same is true with DFS here. Your highest priced driver is really, where you're finding, I think, typically maybe your 7th or 8th price driver on a normal week, and that's Ryan Blaney at 10,700. So I think when it comes to putting together a lineup this week, knowing you have your full $50,000 salary allotment, you're able to pay up on some of these bigger names because they are not priced as high because the DFS people don't know what to expect either. But when in doubt, I'm going to want power cars, power teams, and the best talent I can in my lineup. Is that kind of how you were looking at it as well?
I was just looking at it, guys who know how to run at the front at the super speedways, and so I am locked out of my DraftKings account. So I don't know what we're gonna do here. I cannot look up I'm gonna have to go based off of memory. I'm sorry, folks. This is DraftKings decided to screw me at 2:00 in the afternoon here. So I cannot even get into my. Oh my God, what's my password for Google? This is okay. So,
I've got it all up. I've got pricing and everything. So,
okay.
Do you want me to read prices, or what's the best way?
So I'll just start it off. I'll start off with the 3 I know I had in Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Eric Almirola. Those are 3 guys. They're going to run them up front at the super speedways. They're going to get to the front. Almirola's had an absolutely amazing year so far, having a top 10 in each of the first 3 races. Fell off a little bit last week. Didn't finish in the top 10, but he was still kind of there throughout the race. You're going to want him in there. And then Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, they're great at super speedways that they can perform at the mile and a half. You put them together in the perfect hybrid, and Penske knows how those 2 at least know how to get to the front at this hybrid and at least lead some laps and maybe get some fast laps out there as I try to figure out Google.
Well, yeah, I don't think you can argue with Ryan Blaney at any track right now. The way the 12 team has been performing here at the start of the year, they've done everything but win. So love all 3 of those calls. Definitely, we're expecting super speedway at least for the most part. So you cannot go wrong with Team Penske, and you really cannot go wrong with the Fords. I think overall as a manufacturer, Ford, they showed speed even last week with Chase Briscoe getting the win at Phoenix. A bit of a surprise there. He's going to start on the pole after practice or qualifying was rained out. But, Ford in general, right? Like we talk about the super speedways all the time. Even a Michael McDowell, Daytona 500 winner last year, he knows how to get around both Daytona and Talladega. There are other names here to consider. I would even argue RFK, right? Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher. You could look at guys like that who I think for me, I'm kind of in the boat of fading at some of the intermediate tracks right now, just because that organization seems like they've got some growing pains to go through. But at Daytona, right, they swept the duels. Keselowski's running up front the whole time. Buescher was up front until he got into some contact late in that race. So I don't know how you can go wrong with looking at one of those 2 either, or maybe both. Whatever floats your boat there. I like the Ford stuff. And the best part, you just threw 3 heavyweights as far as super speedway racing in your lineup, right? Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Eric Almirola, and you use just over 50% of your salary. You still got $21,800 remaining, and you got 3 spots left here in this DraftKings lineup. Do you want to throw me a driver? Do you want me to read some pricing? What's the best way?
Give me a second here. I'm gonna go with I'm trying to remember thinking who I had. So I'm gonna go with the cheap guy. I'll let you take the last two here. So
Okay. All right.
my cheap guy, value play. He knows. How do I word this? I'm pretty sure he's from Georgia. He's won super speedway races before. You might know who he is. Let's see if you can guess him real quick before I give it away.
Pretty sure he's from Georgia.
Has won super speedway races before.
Did he have a really fast practice lap time?
Define fast.
Like the fastest? No.
I don't think so. I don't think he was.
Okay. Justin Haley.
No.
Oh,
Justin Haley
okay.
from Florida.
I don't know who's from Georgia other than Chase Elliott.
David Reagan. David Reagan in the 15. He's down there. He starts 35th. He could get you some points getting up to the front. I mean, this guy, he's coming back I don't know why, as a favorite of Rick Ware Racing, I guess. But it's a super speedway. You have to start this man. I mean, as long as he's in the back there, you have to start him. You know he's going to get you points. He's going to do all he can to get up to the front. And I believe David Reagan could get you a lot of points this weekend.
Zach, David Reagan finished 8th in the Daytona 500.
Yeah, I mean, he's that damn good.
He threaded the needle on a couple of wrecks there over the final 50 laps or so, and scored a top 10 finish for Rick Ware Racing. And I had never thought I'd see the day where you were going to throw another Rick Ware driver in a lineup after the Josh Palicki deal last year or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, you're right. David Reagan is from Georgia and has super speedway success.
I forgot about that. Damn it!
That one
always fade Rick Ware. What am I doing?
But at 5,400, David Reagan is the 6th cheapest driver available to you this week. Considering the prices up at the top of the board, like we talked about, there's no extremely high priced drivers. That leaves me with $16,400 remaining in salary to fill out these final two spots. So thank you for doing that, Zach. Like I appreciate it, and I'm all for it. Like you said, he's going to gain the spots and should be able to get you some points there with a solid finish, you would think. Let's see here. I've got to try and pick two that I think you're going to also agree with. That is what I'm tasked with. And the guy with the fastest practice lap that I was referring to, Ricky Stenhouse, he's only starting 28th because qualifying got rained out, but he had the fastest practice lap. He had in the Daytona 500, obviously running up front late in that race before he got into the wall, thanks to Brad Keselowski, and that ended his day. But Stenhouse on these super speedways, right? It's kind of one or the other. Like he's going to throw down a win or a top 3, or he's going to wreck out because he's aggressive. He goes for it. And I don't think you can argue with the fastest practice time at all with Stenhouse here. So I'm going to throw him in. He is priced at $7,100. That leaves us with $9,300 for this last spot. Some of the top players are out of consideration, but I got to go with Tyler Reddick. Because if not for what happened to him in the Daytona 500, which again was no fault of his own, the car just got loose. I think something broke, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
In that race, Reddick at $9K to round out this DK lineup. So we have $300 remaining in salary, but considering how crazy the prices are this week, I don't think that's necessarily an issue at all. Reddick also starts at the front. He starts 5th on the heels of last week, and no qualifying here. So he could be able to get up there and lead some laps really early on in this race. And I like how RCR is running overall this year. So Stenhouse and Reddick to round out the lineup. You in agreement? We got to get some Chevy power.
Yeah, here's our lineup: Blaney, Logano, Reddick, Almirola, Stenhouse, and then David Reagan. Good with me. I think
works for me.
Perfect one.
I don't know how we do it any better. Nobody knows. Nobody knows anything about the new Atlanta Motor Speedway. So
no, you have to go off what we know. What we know is what we know, and that's it. So what can we say?
Watch the truck in Xfinity.
Yeah, we're watching trucks right now, and Matty D pushing Stuart Friesen all the way up and then hitting the wall. That's why you heard me say, "Oh," because I saw a truck hit the wall, and I know you're probably not. You're a little bit sad right now after I told you that.
Is Matty D okay though? Is he?
Yeah, he's still going, but he
Matty D.
little scrape. So now that we've signed into DraftKings, let's get some odds here. Let's go DraftKings Sportsbook here. Let me pull it up. I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier. Who you thought was gonna win the race? Like, who is your before looking at odds? Who was your guy, or who are you looking at?
Who do I think's going to win, or because I already looked at odds for articles, who I decided is a guy I kind of like with the pricing? I have no idea. I don't know how you pick an outright winner this week, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it's like I told people for the 500, like I'm not giving you a definite winner because there's no definite winners here. You like I can give you advice, but I'm not picking an actual full on winner. But
so I had to pick one for an article, and I actually went with Kevin Harvick. I think nobody knows anything about what's going to happen. I firmly believe that this is not going to be a full-fledged super speedway race, kind of like we were talking about earlier. So if that is the case, I'll take a guy who has experience, who has 2 wins in the last 5 Cup Series races here. And also in Harvick, right, we're doing a completely new style of racing. This is new for the drivers too at Atlanta, the package, the banking, everything about this track is new for everyone, not just us bettors and analysts. So when it comes to making in-race adjustments, when it comes to skill behind the wheel, I don't know how you beat Harvick, right? Like we see him pull top 10 finishes out of his ass all the time with a car that may not be that great. That was like all last year, right? Stewart-Haas was not good. And yet Harvick was top 10, it felt like every single week, even though he wasn't winning races. Stewart-Haas has momentum as well after last week with Chase Briscoe. So 16-1, he might be 15-1 at DraftKings, but I found a 16-1 out there at another book. So that's who I went with in terms of pricing, in terms of I feel like I can rely on Harvick to make in-race adjustments. And, it's new for everyone. So maybe not the best super speedway racer at this point in his career, as you so often point out whenever we're at Daytona or Talladega, but I still think it's not going to be quite the same like those tracks.
Yeah,
no. You can call me crazy, though.
I mean, Haley Deegan's got problems now, apparently, but yeah, I mean, Harvick, my thing with that, with what you said, though, he hasn't proved himself in super speedway races. Go back to Talladega 2020, he was leading on the final lap. Absolutely got trained and fell all the way back to 10th. He cannot hold a lead here at super speedways, and that's what this is going to be. This track is wider than Daytona, according to Larry Mack. The corners are. So,
are they really?
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? But that's what, according to Larry Mack, it's what he said. That's what we're going to go with because Larry Mack is America's crew chief. But I mean, you have to believe if he can't block at Talladega, it's gonna transform. It's gonna transfer to here. So
why are you assuming he has to block on the last lap? Though, what if he's got the run?
Huh? You better hope he's got a run because
he's on a 500 winner in the past.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Well, now that I think about it, now that you bring up that point, I don't think he's won a super speedway. I'll have to go back and watch the 2013 Sprint Unlimited, but I don't think he's won a race where he had to block on the final lap. I think it's always been a last lap pass.
Well, you never know. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Do you want to give me a winner that you're going to say is so much better than Kevin Harvick? Because I feel like this week is not about picking outright winners. I don't even know if it's about picking anything, to be honest, because no one knows. So who's your winner? Since you're going to counter argue my Harvick pick.
So my thing is, before I even looked at odds, and I kind of looked at odds because I decided to DraftKings. I kind of got I was high on Ryan Blaney. He's ran so well so far this year. You have to imagine he's going to get a win before too long here. So it's just how long until that happens? And we talked about this before. He won here last year. He knows the hybrid. He actually got screwed out of the. I shouldn't say screwed, but he got blocked into the wall by his teammate. And I believe that last year's Daytona 500 had a role in that. So I think it could be the Ryan Blaney show on Sunday. He starts third, by the way.
I can't argue with that. In terms of value, I'd rather have a double-digit guy to win. DraftKings has Blaney at plus 950.
Again, we didn't look at the odds before we said this there, Henry.
I know, but I did. I'm just counter-arguing your bet since you got to counter-argue mine. Ryan Blaney's plus 950. This week where we know nothing, I'm not betting anything that's shorter than double digits. Really shorter, I would say, than 12 to 1 at a minimum. To win this race, and it looks like everyone else is actually 12 to 1. I did not look at that before I said that, but yeah.
I had it on.
But I don't think you can go wrong with betting on Blaney any week right now, given how hot.
Apparently, DraftKings wanted to screw me and take me off the screen, but here are the odds so far that we have. We have Ryan Blaney plus 950, Kyle Larson also up there plus 950, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin plus 12 plus 1200. Chase Elliott 13 to 1 with Kyle Busch, William Byron, Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman at 15 to 1, Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex Jr. at 16 to 1. Does that surprise you a little bit that the Reddick and Truex are the same odds right there?
Yes, and it's because A, Truex is not a super speedway guy, and B, I don't know that Joe Gibbs has really shown us much of anything. Other than, they should have gotten the win, you could argue, at Las Vegas until Hendrick outsmarted him on that last pit stop strategy. But other than that race, I mean, what has Truex really done this year? So you combine that with super speedway versus the consistency of Reddick and kind of the hot young name. That is a little surprising. Truex seems like he's overpriced there, I would argue, as opposed to Reddick being off. But
yeah. And then we have Chase Briscoe at 18 to 1, Austin Cindric, Kurt Busch, Bubba Wallace, and Brad Keselowski at 20 to 1. Who do you like out of those guys? I think we know who you're leaning towards.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of value, like I said, and experience and adaptability in race, it's Harvick for me. Another name I think you can look at here within this this upper echelon group would be Brad Keselowski, and it's because he ran so well in the Daytona 500. RFK, like I said, they're going to have growing pains this year, and they clearly are at the intermediate tracks. But Daytona, they showed up and they showed out, swept the duels. So 20 to 1 odds there on Brad K, who was running up front for what felt like the entire 500, just didn't have the gas to make a run on the final restart there at Daytona. I think he could do worse than that pick, and he knows how to get around super speedways, going back to the Penske days as well.
Yes, he does. Now we get to the kind of the underdog. This is like the underdog range for me, at least $25 to $50 mark. We have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Ross Chastain 25 to 1, Christopher Bell, Austin Dillon, Eric Almirola at 30 to 1. Okay, here we got a mouthful here. Michael McDowell, Justin Haley, Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez at 50 to 1. You know what? We'll throw in Chris Buescher at 60 to 1. I mean, is there a guy who you looking at there that could add that extra value that could win the race?
Eric Almirola. I mean, I'm right on board with you. I recommended betting him for a top 5. I think DraftKings has that at plus 350. Double A knows how to get around the super speedways. 5th at Daytona this year. Atlanta stats, he has 1 top 10 in the last 8 races. Well, guess what? We can throw those out because this is a completely different Atlanta Motor Speedway now. Obviously, success at Talladega in the past for Almirola as well. Got the win there in 2018 in the fall. Had a run of 7 straight top 10s. It may have been more, actually, but I'm looking at the last 10 race sample size here. And his average finish of 11.1 over those last 10 starts at Talladega, the best of any active driver who has started the majority of those races. So I don't know how you can go wrong with Almirola at 30 to 1, but I'm looking definitely top 5 for him, I think, this week. And then if you want to dabble, I guess, further down the line here with some of these longer guys, what's wrong with McDowell at 50 to 1? Last year's Daytona 500 winner. Very easily could have won at Talladega last year as well. I mean, when it comes to super speedways, you cannot dismiss Michael McDowell.
Yeah, I mean, was that Dan sharing? That's kind of dumb. It wasn't, but yeah, I'm surprised that McDowell is this far down. I'm going to look at Ross. Ross at 25-1. I mean, he looks so good.
I'm not going to argue with you there either.
Yeah, you're going to agree with me. He's getting track time right now in the truck race. So I mean, Ross, you got to look at a guy like him and think he can go far in this race. One thing I'm questioning: Eric Jones he's 50-1 here, but has odds that should be right here for top 3 and odds that should be here in top 5. Excuse me, was that top 5? Yeah, it's top 5. So I mean, why are his odds longer than Justin Haley and Michael McDowell, but they all have like the same odds here? The same as Suarez.
That is a good question. That's a very interesting point.
Just an observation. Okay, now we have the guys who are leaning towards the dollar and a dream, our long shots. Let's get into it here. Harrison Burton and Cole Custer, 80-1. Ty Dillon, Noah Gregson, 90-1. Todd Gillen, 100-1. Corey LaHoy at 150-1. He would look fast in practice. Just throwing that out there. Greg Biffle and David Reagan, 250-1. Josh Bilicki, a guy who will not be named, and BJ McLeod at 500-1. Okay. Dollar and a dream, go.
I got 2 for you. One is going to be Harrison Burton, who was out front in the Daytona 500 before he got flipped on his head, 80-1. And the other is going to be Noah Gregson, driving the 16 for Colleague. This is not the Beard Motorsports car. He's driving for Colleague this week. We saw Daniel Hemrick have a good finish in the 500, and then successive strong finishes, even though they faced adversity after that the next couple of weeks. That 16 team for Colleague has been overachieving so far this year. Gregson's got momentum off his Xfinity Series win last week. I know you were all about that, McAdoo. Did I just call you McAdoo? I did. I love it. That's your new name. So 90-1. I don't see a problem with firing on Gregson there as well. But I like that you mentioned Corey LaJoie was fast in practice too. Thanks for that, McAdoo.
Yeah, I hate you so much right now. But I mean, okay, I'm gonna ride with the two too. Well, Noah Gregson, you gotta be like, this guy knows how to get around Daytona. He looked super fast in the 500 until I believe he did get wrecked, because I did mention that after the fact. And then another guy who I already mentioned, Corey LaJoie. This guy was fast in practice. He knows how to get around super speedways. Don't count out that 7 car, as weird as that sounds, because that 7 car hasn't really done much. Spire hasn't done much with the car, but this week could be the week.
He's been sneaking up there in the field like a couple times, like in the middle of the races, just hasn't had the finishing results. Like LaJoie will pop up in the top 20, even at some of the intermediate tracks. I can't remember which one he was running very well at. Just kind of faded at the end. But yeah, so I'm on board there with you. Corey LaJoie wins. I mean, the only thing that would make me happier than a Corey LaJoie win, I think, would be a Ross Chastain first Cup win. So I would be so here for that.
Hold on, wait, stop. Are you gonna forget about this man? And we need to see him in victory lane?
Oh yeah, him too. But you're gonna be happier than
yeah, I will. You'll probably hear me from Wyoming.
Yeah.
If I just have your windows open. All right. Well, I think that's what. Was there anything else we need to get through here? Or yeah, groups. Forgot.
Yeah, so matchups this week, I'll just touch on these quickly. Like, if you go to the matchups at DraftKings, everybody's minus 110. I mean, you have a couple where they're juiced like minus 115, minus 105 in one direction. There's no value betting matchups this week. I'm sorry to throw that out there. I don't like to lay money NASCAR betting to begin with, but in a crapshoot like this,
yeah, they're all minus 115. There's no sense. Yeah. You're laying money, and it's not, like you said, it's not even there.
Yeah, no. So just kind of avoid matchups, I'd say, this week is your best bet.
Now, I think, is this because it's a unknown that they'd be like, yeah, we're gonna take in your money, screw you guys, or do you think this is just, what could the case be here that they're doing this?
Oh, that's 100% what it is, right? Like I said before, we have no idea. This is all new for the drivers themselves, and the odds makers have no idea, right? So just like the odds to win reflect a super speedway or then some, because I'm pretty sure Denny Hamlin, by the time the Daytona 500 went off, he was like, what, plus 750, I want to say, 8-1. So even at Daytona Talladega, where we have some history, we have no history on this version of Atlanta Motor Speedway. The odds makers have no history on this version of Atlanta Motor Speedway. So the juice, I think, at some of these spots, minus 115, minus 105, that's probably where the market has kind of come in. So if I go here and I just look quick to see one where that might be the case. So Harrison Burton juice to Cole Custer. And I would agree with that, right? Like Harrison Burton has shown us more, I would say, this year than Cole Custer overall. He was fast at Daytona until, unfortunately, got flipped upside down, and that ended his day. So I would agree with that juice. But Ricky Stenhouse, fastest practice time, juiced over Christopher Bell. Stenhouse has been fast some of these other weeks. We know he knows how to get to the front of these super speedways. So that's the market fluctuating these prices. I think they were all set minus 110 across the board by the odds makers themselves. And yeah.
So I don't know if you can see on here on our little thing here, but
I can.
Okay, so is this who we both are rolling with? Ryan Blaney in Group A, Group B with Kevin Harvick, Group C Tyler Reddick, and then Group D Keselowski. Are we in agreeing there, or is there someone else that you think that people need to bet on this week?
I am looking quick. So if I had to make the case for anyone else in these groups, I would make a case for one of the two Hendrick drivers in Group B. I could see William Byron or Chase Elliott. In Group C, I like Reddick. If I had made a case for someone else, it'd be Uncle Mo off his big win last week. Chase Briscoe starting on the pole as well, so he's going to have track advantage to his advantage right out of the gates. And then in Group D, I don't think you can just overlook Austin Cindric here, right? Like Daytona 500 winner. He's going to have the help of his Penske teammates. So I could see making a case for Cindric there in Group D as well. But I like all of the names that you selected for sure.
Well, yeah, it's all people that we've talked about earlier in the show.
Right.
So I was like, I just put them together, see if that's what he thinks. So I think that's it for DraftKings. We'll close.
I got one more for you. You want my best bet for this race?
All right, yeah, let's give it to us.
All right. So if you have that group odds screen pulled up there,
I just exited out of it.
Yeah, you just exit out of it. You don't have to pull it back up if you want to. Feel free. But Denny Hamlin, they're up there in Group A, right, with our defending Cup Series champion Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, who's been strong all year, Joey Logano. So you got two Penske guys, obviously Penske Super Speedway synonymous, and you got Kyle Larson, and you got Denny Hamlin sitting there at plus 250. Denny Hamlin's Super Speedway success, especially at Daytona, 3-time 500 champ. That's well known. Okay, so let's go back to race lines. Let's go to the constructor manufacturer tab there, McAdoo. And
I'm gonna fucking beat you. I'm going
to. Well, no, I'm trying to help you out here with a good bet. So
no, you're not. You're beating. Well, all right, where is it?
Race lines, constructor. Doesn't look like you have constructor manufacturer. Maybe that's a New York thing. I don't know. But out here in Wyoming, we've got odds for the top Chevy, top Ford, top Toyota finisher, as we do most weeks, right? Denny Hamlin is plus 250 to be the top Toyota. He's plus 250 in Group A, like I was just telling you, like you just showed everyone. Yeah. I would much rather bet Denny Hamlin to beat 5 other cars in the Toyota bracket than I would the 3 cars he's matched up with in Group A. Think about the other Toyotas in this race, okay? Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch. I can write them off right away. They're not super speedway guys. They don't like this style of racing. No thanks. Bubba Wallace, yeah, he knows how to get around here, but I don't trust the driver. I don't trust the team yet. So that's going to eliminate him. That's also going to eliminate Kurt Busch, who's not a star super speedway racer himself. So kind of a double whammy there on him. with the team and the new format of racing. And Christopher Bell, not exactly off to a white hot start here, I would say, to begin the 2022 season. He won the second race last year, but it's been slow cooking here early on this year for Bell. So that leaves Hamlin and plus 250 to be the top Toyota finisher, as opposed to the same exact price to beat the defending champ and two of the best super speedway drivers in the sport, and two drivers who have been running very well to begin the year in Logano and Blaney. That to me is value. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's facing more cars, but at the end of the day, it's a better matchup for him than what was in the group. Now, I don't know if you probably can't read what I have scribbled there. All Team Penske cars to finish in the top 10. I like that at plus 400. The only question you have there is Austin Cindric, and he just won the Daytona 500 less than a month ago.
Yeah, and if you think they're all going to be, packed together, pushing each other late in this race, the Penske cars like to find each other and work together. So in theory, they'd all be right there. And even if the pack gets broken up or whatever, guys get runs on that last lap, and they fall, one or two fall back, it could still all wind up in the top 10 there. And Harrison Burton does not count as a Penske car, remember, when you're betting too. So
no, it's only need the 3. 2, 12, 22. That's all you need.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
So yeah, that's not bad at all.
I think we can stop sharing that. We can finally close it out unless he has any other things he has here. That
no, I can tell you need to go watch the March Madness.
No, I don't. Baylor lost. We're all sad now.
Oh no, McAdoo, you're champ.
I'm going to beat.
You
better stay in Wyoming, because if I ever see you, I'm going to beat the hell.
All right. On coming back.
Yeah, stay the hell over there. All right.
I will. Thank you.
All right.
Enjoy New York.
It sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Can we end the show, please, and say you messing around here? All right.
Like us, subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that stuff. Yeah. FlurrySports.org. The NASCAR section is going to be ramping up as the March Madness winds down, because somebody's been so engrossed in college basketball that he has been slacking on the NASCAR team and the schedule. So somebody's going to get his head out of his ass and be a little bit better. And enjoy Atlanta, because if this is in fact a mini super speedway race, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and probably going to have plenty of surprises along the way. So I'm excited to see what unfolds across all 3 series this weekend. Don't forget, trucks already in progress here as we're recording. Xfinity later this afternoon. So that's all I got
for trucks. I didn't see who won because I wasn't paying attention. I was paying attention more to this. But yeah. So I could. It's a lot of stuff going on right now. So, and my attention is right here. So come hire me. What can I say? I'm putting more attention to my work than what's going on around me with Bulls basketball and the race going on. But anyways, time to end it. Yeah, like he said, go subscribe, whatever, and do it. Follow me at ZT McAdoo. Follow him at Hangtime, whatever the hell, Hangtime Sports. Hangtime Henry. No. Yeah, don't follow him. Do whatever he says. I don't care. And follow us at Burton Rob Racing. I have been trying to follow along a driver every week. This week, though, it's not going to happen due to scheduling conflicts with other stuff. I'm sorry about that. We'll be back on it hopefully next week, depending on what happens around the horn here with our lives. But anyways, he's been Henry John. I've been Zach McAdoo. Go Bulls.
I have one more question. Do you think that if I change my Twitter handle to Zacadoo, more people will follow me? You don't have the answer. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, ruin the show, why don't you?
Oh, the punch got me through the screen.
Go Bulls. No. Go Bulls.